The movie opens on a bittersweet note. We see a man named Ed sitting in a hospital room, overcome with joy as he and his wife celebrate the birth of their new baby girl. They lovingly decide to name her Michelle. But just 5 years later, the scene repeats with a tragic twist. Ed is back at the hospital, but this time his wife is fading away. He makes a solemn promise to take care of their daughters, Ashley and little Michelle. Moments later, she passes away, leaving Ed shattered. We then cut to a chaotic scene in a bar. A woman named Sharon is drinking heavily, spiraling out of control. She dances wildly until she loses her balance and hits the floor. Her friend Rose rushes over, terrified, but Sharon brushes it off, insisting she is fine. The next morning, Sharon wakes up with a gap in her memory and a fresh wound on her head. She is shocked to find Rose in her living room. Rose explains that she had to drive Sharon home because she was completely incoherent. She warns Sharon that this blackout drinking has to stop and drags her to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. It is Sharon's first time, but when asked to speak, she denies being an alcoholic in front of everyone. Fate intervenes when Sharon spots a newspaper in a shop. She reads a heartbreaking story about a little girl named Michelle who needs a liver transplant, noting that the child's mother has recently died. Moved by Michelle's photo, Sharon buys the paper. Meanwhile, Ed is dressing for his wife's funeral. He finds Michelle his messily applied makeup to her face. As he gently wipes it off, he notices a worrying red spot on her hand. He hides his concern to get through the day. Sharon, having read the funeral details, decides to show up. She tries to fix her flashy clothes to look appropriate and slips into the church, watching Ed hold his daughter. After the service, Sharon approaches them. She meets Michelle and Ashley, but Ed is confused, admitting he has never seen her before. Sharon explains she read about his loss and just wanted to offer condolences and help. Ed politely thanks her, gathers his girls, and walks away. Sharon heads to the beauty salon she co-owns with Rose and recounts the story. Rose thinks it's bizarre she went to a stranger's funeral. Sharon explains she feels a deep pull to help the little girl, knowing the father is broke from previous medical bills. She wants to fund the transplant, but has no idea how to get the money. Back home, Ed struggles to feed the girls and get them to sleep. He tells his mother she doesn't have to stay, assuring her he can handle things, but she insists he needs support. The next day, while reading stories to his daughters, Ed notices the whites of Michelle's eyes have turned yellow. Panicked, he rushes her to the emergency room. The doctor treats her, and Ed tries to keep spirits high, singing his late wife's favorite lullaby to soothe Michelle to sleep. The diagnosis is devastating. The doctor tells Ed that without a liver transplant, Michelle has less than a year to live. Even worse, she is 6th on the waiting list, which means a 2-year wait. Crushed, Ed goes to the billing department to pay, but his card is declined. The costs are simply added to his mounting debt. Meanwhile, Sharon takes action. She launches a fundraising campaign, distributing flyers and turning her salon into a donation center. The community responds, and Sharon collects a large sum. Buoyed by this purpose, she tells Rose she is finally quitting drinking. Sharon takes the cash to Ed's house. He is stunned when she hands him the money. Ed's mother gratefully invites Sharon to dinner, though Ed is annoyed, finding Sharon's behavior erratic and suspecting she might be mentally unstable. However, during dinner, Sharon charms the family. Michelle asks Sharon for a skirt just like the one she is wearing. Sharon promises to get her an exact match. Ed scolds his daughter for asking, but Sharon cuts in, saying she is happy to do it. Taking it a step further, Sharon impersonates Ed's sister on a call to the hospital and uncovers the massive extent of his debt. She shows up at his house to organize his bills. Ed is baffled but lets her help. Realizing his salary won't even scratch the surface, Sharon suggests selling the house. Ed refuses. She insists that continuing to fundraise is the only way. When Ed tries to push her away, saying he'll handle it, Sharon replies that she isn't helping him, she is helping his daughter. A massive storm hits the town, damaging roofs everywhere. Ed sees an opportunity to make extra money repairing them. Sharon returns with the promised skirt for Michelle and lip gloss for Ashley. She loves Ed's repair business idea and takes photos of him to help him get work, making him smile for the camera. She even goes with him to meet a contractor, smooth-talking the owner into hiring Ed by claiming he is a skilled miracle worker. Ed gets the job. Sharon doesn't stop there. She pitches Michelle's story to businessmen, collecting more donations. As days pass, she bonds with the girls. One afternoon, Ed catches her applying makeup on them. He snaps, saying that makeup belonged to his wife.
Sharon apologizes, saying she is just trying to help, and leaves. We then see Sharon's personal pain. She visits her estranged son, who works in a band at a bar. He is cold, resenting her for a childhood neglected due to her drinking. When she talks about Michelle's family, he dismisses her. She apologizes, but he yells that apologies don't fix the past. She leaves, broken. Suddenly, Michelle gets sick again. Ed rushes her to the hospital and calls Sharon. Sharon picks up Ashley from school and meets them. When Michelle is discharged, they all go out together. Ed finally admits he appreciates Sharon's help, but feels inadequate as a father. Sharon opens up about her own life, revealing she has a 23-year-old son she barely speaks to. That night, she sends her son a tearful voice message, wishing him a happy birthday and telling him she loves him. Sharon continues her crusade. She visits the hospital administrator and, through a heartfelt plea, convinces her to forgive Ed's entire medical debt. When she tells Ed the debt is gone and he can keep his house, he is overwhelmed with gratitude. But the relief is short-lived. While Sharon is babysitting, Michelle starts bleeding. At the hospital, the doctor drops a bombshell. Michelle needs a transplant immediately. She has 4 weeks to live. Once a liver is found, they will have only 6 hours to fly her to a specialist hospital. Ed loses his temper, but Sharon steps in, promising to secure a private jet, though Ed is skeptical. Sharon works the phones relentlessly, securing commitments for 5 different private jets. Ed's mother is ecstatic, but Ed is overwhelmed, asking Sharon to stop because he feels like a burden. Undeterred, Sharon confides in Rose that she will see this through. Rose accuses her of still drinking, but Sharon insists she is sober and won't turn back.
Sharon contacts a news anchor to broadcast Michelle's story for more help. When a news crew shows up at Ed's house, he is furious, feeling exploited. He refuses to be interviewed. Despite his mother's pleading, Ed storms off to work. Sharon, feeling rejected, spirals. She goes home and drinks until she passes out. Ed comes home to find her drunk in front of his daughters. He explodes, throwing her out and banning her from the house. Sobbing, Sharon confesses she is repeating her mother's mistakes, which cost her a relationship with her son. Ed softens slightly, telling her he is sure her son doesn't hate her. Sharon admits she is trying to save Michelle to save herself. She leaves, broken. The next day, Sharon goes to Rose, finally ready to get clean. She rejoins AA, admits she is an alcoholic, and decides to give Ed's family space. She sends her son a message that she is finally in recovery. Ed and the girls watch the news report about Michelle. Suddenly, the call comes. They found a liver. Ed is ecstatic, but nature has other plans. A massive blizzard has buried the city. Power is out and roads are closed. Ed has 6 hours to get Michelle to the hospital. He calls Sharon in a panic. Sharon mobilizes, calling her contacts. Most refuse to fly in the storm, but one pilot agrees. However, Rose warns Sharon that Ed will never make it to the airport by car. They need a helicopter. Ed tries to drive, digging his car out of the snow, but the roads are impassable. He tries alternate routes, comforting a weakening Michelle. Meanwhile, Sharon gets the news anchor to broadcast a desperate plea for a helicopter. Ed hits a blocked road with a fallen tree. He tries to move it, but fails. Defeated, he tells Michelle he loves her, preparing to turn back. But the broadcast works. A helicopter is secured. Ed calls the doctor to say he can't make it, but just then Sharon's friends tap on his car window. The helicopter is waiting. They race to a clearing where the helicopter is scheduled to land. The community rallies, shoveling snow to clear a landing pad. Sharon is there, and to her shock, her son arrives to help shovel, telling her he heard her messages. They hug, reuniting amidst the crisis. Ed arrives to see an army of strangers helping him. As the helicopter approaches, everyone turns on their car headlights and lays coats on the ground to guide the pilot. The bird lands successfully. Ed wraps his jacket around Sharon, calls her a miracle, and boards the chopper with Michelle. Sharon watches them leave, feeling a profound sense of redemption. Michelle makes it to the hospital, the surgery is a success, and she wakes up with her father by her side. That's it for today's story. If you enjoyed the recap, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.